A better route. Chapter 154. Obito looked at the little team he'd assembled, his mother, his wife, and his nephews, with a bit of skepticism. Itachi's new eye was the key to this plan, and Obito had been ecstatic when he'd found out about it. With it there was a chance that maybe, just maybe, they could pull this off. Alright, so all I need to do is get Zetsu to merge with me. Tuhiya stopped him. That'll never work. If he's gonna be willing to merge with anyone, it's gonna be me. He's not going to merge with Obito no matter what you do. Rin cut in, still angry at Tuhiya for stealing away her son to the Akatsuki. Like we can actually trust you. Tuhiya could understand why she was so angry. You don't have any choice, I'm afraid. I'm the only human out here Zetsu's got any reason to merge with. Obito decided he wasn't going to argue with his mother. Believe me Rin-chan, if you knew what this meant I had to do you'd be glad mom's taking my place. Okay mom, he'll merge with you and Itachi will use his eye to handle the rest. All you're going to need is this. He handed a scroll to Tuhiya and Rin realized what the scroll was. Wait, Tuhiya, you do know what that is, don't you? Tuhiya nodded. Yes, it's the Reaper Death Seal, and to be frank I've earned it with everything I've done. Obito gave his mother a sympathetic look but said, let's get moving. Based on what mom here told me about Kagaya's powers, thank you for that by the way. Tuhiya shrugged. She was a very egotistical person. Kagaya loved to brag about her powers to me. Obito continued, anyways, based on what she told me about Kagaya's teleportation, if I know my son, my niece, and nephew they'll have Kagaya back here in no time. Let's go. As Tuhiya was about to leave Rin grabbed her arm. Thank you for doing this, I couldn't stand the thought of losing Obito-kun. Tuhiya looked at the ground with ashamed eyes. Thank you for doing what I couldn't, thank you for making him happy. With those words they all left, intent on taking down Kagaya forever. As Kakashi worked out the kinks of getting everyone teleported back to the battlefield, Naruto and Mito were using every last power Hagoromo had given them against Kagaya. Both of them were using various forms of the truth-seeking balls to make sure that Senbon Rain didn't try and kill them. Once they were sure they were safe, it was just a matter of using the right jutsus. Naruto had created 2 clones and was planning on giving Tuhiya something real special. All of them worked chakra into their hands and created Raisin Shurikens. Kagaya found it very comical. Honestly, didn't I avoid that sad little attack already? What makes 3 will work any better? The 3 Narutos charged, because this time we're not throwing them. Kagaya brought her hands up and began to fire bones from her hands. Naruto was more fast enough to avoid them, forcing Kagaya to try and attack them with a flurry of steel hair. The clones and their master avoid the hair and used their attacks on Kagaya, Sage Art, Tailed Beast Raisin Shurikens. Each of the clones' attack had been charged with a specific Tailed Beast's power, making them very dangerous. When they hit Kagaya they caused one hell of an explosion, causing her to scream, damn it that hurt. I swear, when I get my hands on you. Mito used her advanced speed to get behind Kagaya and yanked hard on her hair, then threw the madwoman into a nearby chunk of ice. I was thinking more about what would happen once I got my hands on you. Kagaya stood up with an angry look on her face. I'm going to crush you. She put her hand on the ice and you could see it begin to change shape. Sharpened spears of ice, much bigger than the Senbon, shot at Naruto and Mito. Naruto cursed when he saw them. For fuck's sake, I really hate that she can bend reality here. Mito took a deep breath and exhaled incredibly hot steam from Koku right on the incoming ice. It gave off enough heat to melt the ice before it go anywhere near them. Sadly, the ice turned out to be the least of their worries. Kagaya had sent chakra hands at them, just under a dozen of them. Naruto and Mito worked together to create a shield out of the truth-seeking balls that was strong enough to defend themselves. Kakashi, please tell me you're almost done over there. Kakashi looked like he was thinking hard and seemed to be looking around at about 1,000 different things, like he was seeing something they couldn't. Wait, I think I've almost got it. Whenever you're ready Naruto, I'll get us out of here. Naruto took a deep breath. Let's hope I don't miss. Kakashi, is there any way I could get your help with this, or do you need to focus to keep the teleportation ready? Kakashi jumped next to his surrogate brother. Now that I've figured it out, I can do it pretty much at any time. At least from here to the battlefield anyways. Naruto had his plan all throughout. I'm gonna make a massive raisin shuriken and I need you to make an Amaterasu arrow. Kakashi remember them talking about this before, so you wanna go with our other crazy idea? You've gotta be aiming it since it's your idea. Naruto got his raisin shuriken going. Yes, I am. Mito, when I say so, you drop the shield. Mito wasn't sure if this was a good idea. This better work, Naruto, or we're fucked. Naruto knew she was right. You don't need to remind me. Okay, now. Mito dropped the shield and Kakashi fired the arrow. Naruto had already aimed it right where he wanted it, at Kagaya's forehead, so when the shield dropped he launched the attack. They barely avoid the chakra hands as they watched the attack head for Kagaya. It was so fast that she only had time to raise her hand up above her forehead before the attack landed. The arrow was sharp enough to cut through anything thanks to the wind and beyond hot enough to burn through anything thanks to the Amaterasu. It went right through her hand, and right into her third eye. Kagaya put her hand on her forehead and watched her blood drip down. Do you think this means you've won? I'll have it healed back up and ready to use within the hour, and this won't stop the infinite Tsukuyomi because Shinju roots have already taken effect. You'll have to kill me to stop it. Naruto knew that was true. You can't teleport for at least an hour though, since I took out your eye, so it's gonna be a lot easier. Kakashi, let's go. All three of them rushed Kagaya at the same time, grabbing her and vanishing thanks to Kakashi's activating his teleportation. The battle was almost over, and now it was time to go back to where the fight had first began. Obito and his little team felt at the moment the Kagaya and her three opponents returned the battlefield. They were sending off waves of intense chakra that people must have been able to feel for miles around, if they had still been awake anyways. Tuhiya saw that her third eye was badly damaged, which meant her teleportation wouldn't be a problem with the plan. She approached Zetsu. I'm afraid, my friend, that this would be where our partnership ends. I've decided that I can't let myself be a part of this any longer, and so I'm going to help my son. Prepare yourself, because I am going to defeat you. Zetsu looked at her rather startled. Well, I didn't see this one coming. It's a pity there's no way you could ever actually defeat me. Tuhiya glared at him. Honestly, Zetsu, you're no fighter. Zetsu sprung towards her. That's true, but you can't defend against this. He latched onto her and began to merge with her and link himself to her chakra. You will and my will are going to become one. I'll have complete control over you and I'll make you fight your own descendants. Tuhiya used all her strength to fight Zetsu so she could say, yes, but now you're ready for this. Itachi. Itachi jumped out from where he'd been hiding and activated Shusui's eye. Game over, Zetsu. Zetsu suddenly felt like he had no control over his own action. Shusui's eye shouldn't have an effect on me. I mean, it only works on humans, you bitch. Tuhiya sort of laughed. That's right, since your merging technique completely links your chakra system with mine, you aren't able to fight it. Time for you to help me kill your master. Obito was running over to Naruto and the others. We need you guys to keep her still for a minute or two. We've got a plan, but she needs to be pinned down for it to work. Naruto made an army of clones, maybe 1,000 of them. Think that'll be enough to hold her down? Kakashi made 10 wood dragons. If it's not, these guys will help take care of it. Mito piped up. It'll be even worse if I blind her with some dust and fire some truth-seeking balls at her. Naruto gave his foxy grin. Let's see how Kagaya handles this. Just like that, the three sages had put their plan into action, leaving Obito only to briefly watch before the dust covered them and no one could see what they were. Came up beside him before long and she was clearly merged with Black Zetsu. So is she pinned down yet? Obito turned to her. Not yet, they're working on it right now. Tuhiya didn't mind waiting. Itachi set the genjutsu so that the second she's pinned down, I'll get to work. Obito really didn't know what to say. All he could think to tell her was, Mom, thanks. Tuhiya looked at the ground. You're welcome. Think of it as my apology for everything I let your father do to you. Obito gave a small smile. Considering how everything turned out, I'm not going to complain. The dust cleared and Kaguya was being held by the wrists by Kakashi's wood dragons and Naruto's clones. Guess that's my cue. You've done well, son. Don't make the same mistakes I did. Tuhiya jumped in front of Kaguya, who thought that it was Zetsu coming to help because of the way she looked. Come on, Zetsu, hurry up and get me out of these things. Tuhiya pulled out a scroll out and unrolled it. Actually, Zetsu is the one being controlled right now. This is the Reaper Death Seal, and since I'm using your own will against you, it should take effect relatively easily. In simple terms, you're through, bitch. Kaguya tried to struggle as more of Kakashi's wood dragons grabbed her by the ankles. No, don't do this. This world needs me. Tuhiya had already begun to activate the seal, the Shinigami appearing behind her. I've done enough damage in this world, it's time to repair at least some of it. Kaguya kept screaming as her soul was sucked out of her body and she began to turn to stone. Stop this. Let me go. I'm the creator of the shinobi world. You can't do this to me. Tuhiya's last words were, watch me. Tuhiya pulled the last of Kaguya's soul out and then her body fell to the ground, Kaguya having been turned completely into stone. Her statue began to crack and soon it crumbled completely, letting some kind of energy pour out of it. Naruto knew what it was. That's gotta be the chakra Hagoromo used to create the tailed beasts. We've gotta try and reform them. Maybe if Kurama can tell me how Hagoromo did it the first time, then we can do it too. Kurama said from inside his head, Naruto, you can't do it exactly the way my father did, but yes, I could guide you through a different way of using the chakra to revive us. The problem is, if you do that, the three of you will have to give up your sage powers completely. It almost killed Hagoromo, so you'll all have to surrender your powers if you want to save us and survive. Naruto didn't care. I promised you that I'd do whatever I could to make you and siblings happy, Kurama, and I never go back on my promises. We're doing this, so tell me what needs to be done. I'll even give you the half of your chakra back. Kurama couldn't believe it. Naruto wasn't backing out on the deal they'd made back when they'd been working on the yellow flash. He couldn't think of a damn thing to say, so he just began to guide Naruto and his friends into rebuilding his siblings. The sages raised up their hands and they began to glow with red and blue chakra. All of the energy that was in the air came to their hands and began to take shape. Slowly the nine-tailed beast reformed as the sages gave up their powers to save them. Naruto even removed the seal from his body so the Kurama could reform with the rest of his siblings. Before long all of the massive creature were back and standing in front of them. Naruto, Kakashi, and Mito were winded from having to give up their powers, but were happy the tailed beast were back. The beasts bowed to them and Kurama said, thank you all so much. It feels so good to have both my yin and yang chakra together. I feel whole once again. So what do you humans intend to do with us? Naruto turned to see all of the Kages were awake and told them, I've been thinking, as long as they obey all human laws, to the best of their abilities, why don't we just let them roam free? Kurama spoke up, we'd be just fine with that, by the way. Shikaku seemed hesitant. Well. Kurama shot a glare at him, and if we don't, then you can feel free to imprison us like you would a human. Shikaku grumbled, fine. Naruto turned to the Kages, is that fine with you guys? They all nodded groggily as they'd just only woken up, and Obito said, they might seem a little out of it, but I think they're saying yes. Hinata ran up to Naruto and hugged him tightly, we did it. We won. Obito smiled at the young couple and then looked at his mother's dead body, with a little help, yes. Rin came up and hugged him from behind, we'll get her proper bar rail once we get back to the Leaf. She really did something great with her last action, didn't she? Obito looked as Naruto held Hinata close to him, his son kissed the woman he loved, and Mito gave butterfly kisses to Kiba. All of them were awake and glad those they loved were okay. Yes, she really did. See you in the next one.